Hello, and welcome to yet another tutorial. You're here because, well, you got lost on how to actually make a jumping guy. Alright, so I started off by making a new file from my little guy. I just have one frame of him, named it boy jumping. That just makes it easier to access it later, and so you're not just editing the same sprite. Though we will do that on purpose later. Alright, so the first things first is making that very first frame. Oh, by the way, here is the frames that I'm referring to here. For me, I actually have them off on another screen, but, you know, since you guys might not have access to that, I'm just going to keep this right here in the video, so you won't have to worry about it. You're welcome. Alright, so the first frame, I just did sort of like your regular standard idle frame. It's really just like the boy standing up. So for the second frame, we've got the anticipation frame that we've learned about. Your anticipation, again, is like getting ready to do something. We're showing that we're like not necessarily squashing ourselves into something, but we're like setting ourselves up. So for this, like think of it like a sort of spring animation. Alright, so specifically on this guy, you'll see that I did mess up a lot of his arms throughout the entire thing, especially toward like the back frames. So those get fixed. You'll also notice that I do move a little bit horizontally in the second and third frames, which I do fix, so my body is pretty much in the same place the entire way through. Ooh, I burped a little bit there. Back with the eraser tool, erasing the arms and legs, so I just have my little nubs, and I'm jumping up in the air. This is my, let's see, we're going to the jump frame, so it's going to be frame 3. In the picture that we have referenced, he's jumping just straight up into the air, his arms going out wide, out in front of him. Pretty simple looking animation, but it does present, unfortunately, quite a few challenges when it comes to pixel art. Because you only have like so many arm positions that you can really work with that look good. So you'll notice I go through a lot of different positions for these arms. And I know this frame gave me just a whole lot of trouble. And it bites me back in the butt again later to continue to give me more trouble. I do try something interesting here, which is just changing the shade of the skin a little bit to provide a little bit of depth and just make it not look so much like his arm is blurring into his face there. Though ultimately it does prove to be fruitless because I don't keep it there anyway. Alright, so we're on to frame 4, which is the midair frame, which I lovingly refer to as T-posing while jumping up in the air. Which is the best way to assert your dominance. Now, different from how you might expect it though, you do want to have your legs tucked in. That is just like your midair frame anyway. So like you want to have your legs tucked up because eventually you want to sort of like spring down when you fall. It makes more sense when you're actually jumping, or at the very least when you're just referring to the picture that's right next to my boy. Alright, so now we're done with our midair, we're falling back to the earth. This one is another one that I had a lot of trouble with, especially with the legs. The legs I just could not get, like, perfect on here. So it looks a little bit funky at first. And here again, the arms are kind of screwy. Again, I end up fixing the arms a bit later, so if you're following directly along with me, don't. You should maybe wait and watch till the final product and then come back around and follow around with me. Kind of watch my process through this entire thing. Remember, I'm also human. Alright, so this is frame number 6. Which is my recovery frame, and I make the smart decision of just copying frame number 2, the anticipation frame, and just putting it in place. However, I do get confused for a couple seconds and mix the frames up, but here I am. I got it. So, recovery frame is generally when you land onto the ground. This is your superhero landing. This is when you look super duper cool. So for this one, he looks a little less cool because both of his knees are touching the ground. This is how I would land probably if I were like that young, because I had no regard for my legs or knees in the future. Again, the arm position is a little odd here, and you'll notice like I go through these cycles and I just really don't like these arms. Like, I keep kind of going right back to the same frames and I start correcting them. I don't like them because they go into different positions super fast, versus like kind of smoothly going into a position. If I had time to maybe put frames in between the keyframes, I might do that. But for now, I wanted to make sure that they still look pretty fluid. So instead of having the arm straight up, I put them at a diagonal, and I also messed around with that left arm for a little bit because it kind of just flails around for a bit. Yeah, right here I noticed that like that's the most out of place looking part there. But after a bit, I think I finally start kind of getting into it. The arms I have to correct a little bit more to sort of eliminate the movement and just sort of make it look a little less jittery. Look a little bit more smooth for how few frames that I allowed myself to have here. And pretty much this is where it sort of ends right here. I have a couple little teeny tiny adjustments, but for the most part, this is how I like to have him animated, or have my jumping boy animated. Now again, as you probably were told in class, I don't want you guys moving this guy horizontally. I also don't want you to make big old jumps. I'll tell you guys a little bit about that later. Anyway, GLHF, have fun.